As we transition to the new normal, we have left others behind. We need to reimagine and redesign our educational system. With the collective effort of schools, sponsors, and TagPro's learning management system, and core of passionate teachers, we can deliver free education and champion the cause of our students. Together, we would be able to teach, inspire, and serve, because TagPros believes that education is a right all children deserve.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to TagPros Children live webinar workshops. I'm Celine, grade school teacher and EdTech coach from Xavier School, and once again, I will be your host for today. This webinar workshop series is brought to you by TagPros Children in partnership with TagPros Education, an up-and-coming online K-12 education marketplace where passion takes the lead in learning. This event is also made possible by the Department of Education International Cooperation Office, Teacher Education Network, and Next Series. Firstly, we want to share the good news with everybody that we are now holding live classes on our TagPros platform. Yes, live. These classes are crafted to help our learners learn skills and techniques that will help them in their classroom activities. One of our teacher partners was actually able to successfully finish his math online teaching to his grade 5 students in the US. Let's watch this quick video of Sir Rodel.
My name is Rodel Lintag, a licensed professional teacher from the Philippines. I want to share with you these 3 takeaways in doing online teaching through TagPros Education. Be happy, do good, keep motivated. I am happy because helping students perform better in mathematics gives me a sense of fulfillment with joy. The mind of the child is like a blank slate. Whatever you write in the minds of the children or in that slate, it will always leave a trail in their minds and in their hearts. In my job as an online teacher, I always think of the good things that I may share with my students, especially with life lessons in mathematics. When they see that math lessons are significant and that they can be applied in everyday life, certainly they will love mathematics. I could feel that they are interested in learning mathematics through our interactive, innovative, and integrative teaching approaches. No matter how complex or complicated, for example, a word problem is, you will be confident that you can solve it with 100% accuracy. I encourage all teachers out there to take online teaching through TagPros Education. You can be a happy online teacher as I am. You can be a vessel of good things to share with children. You can be a conduit of motivation for learners to grow and develop as good men and women in the future. Come and be one of us in TagPros Education.
All right. So just to let you know, dear participants, the parents of Sir Riddell's students actually liked how he taught the students. That's why the parents requested to hold another class for their children, and Sir Riddell will be holding another 2 classes for US students and clients this coming November 8th. We are also offering, of course, more classes on our Tag Pros platform, so feel free to check that out as well. Please look into these classes when you can. So what are you waiting for, dear parents and students out there? Please make sure you visit our website and choose a class that will help you, and of course, feel free to enroll. We are also holding a weekly onboarding for our teacher partners. So, our teacher partners, our Tag Pros teacher partners, can look forward to a lot of benefits actually. And some of these benefits include earning while teaching your expertise at your own pace, place, and time, having access to teacher CPD accredited training and professional development, having the opportunity to participate in international professional learning opportunities in the United States with our official education partners. You will also be receiving your official certified Tag Pros teacher partner badge, and of course, many more other perks as you create and conduct your online classes. To know more about the program, please spend some time and check out our education marketplace platform at tagpros.us. And of course, if you are interested in joining and becoming one of our teacher partners, please do let us know. All right, now before we proceed to our webinar workshop proper, let's have a quick attendance check first. Let's do our usual roll call every Saturday morning. So for those of you who are tuning in live right now, let us know where you're tuning in from. Shout out where you're from so that we also can acknowledge it. All right, so we have from Marawi, Lanao del Sur. All right, good morning, everybody. Okay, good morning, Mr. Mohammed. Okay, good morning to those of you who are in the comment section right now. We have from Gingbug City Division. All right. Okay, from Pampanga. Okay, so as usual, we have, of course, viewers from all over the Philippines. I see somebody from Bacolod City as well. Good morning, everybody. So, like I said, as usual, we have viewers from all over the country. Sometimes you also get viewers from around the world as well. So, not just in the Philippines, but we also have some teachers tuning into us from other countries. Of course, if the time is kind of matches up with their time zone and they're able to watch us live. All right, so from Laguna, we have Miss Mary Jane Lopez. Good morning, ma'am. We have from Tarlac City, from Ilocos Sur. We have from Pampanga, Angeles City. Okay, so it's very nice to have all of you, of course, join us once again here today on this morning. From Don Bosco Academy, Bacolor. From San Pedro, Laguna. Okay, so hopefully you can get more people in here. So, of course, if you're watching right now and you do have colleagues who you think would be interested in our topic for today or just interested in, learning with us today, please do feel free to share the link with them so that they can watch along with us. Okay, and as always, just a quick reminder to everybody to please practice responsible digital citizenship and refrain from sharing any personal information in the comment section. And that, of course, includes your email and your contact number. So please do keep those information private. Let's also remember to be civil to one another in the comment section. And a gentle reminder as well to everybody that registering for the webinar workshop or just watching the webinar workshop does not make you automatically eligible for a digital certificate. If you would like to receive a certificate from Tag Pros, a digital certificate for the workshop today, you will have to answer the evaluation forms that we release after every session. After we open the form, you only have a week to answer it before we close it on Friday at 11:59 p.m. exactly. And if you miss this deadline, unfortunately, you will no longer be able to access and answer the evaluation form, even if you did register and join the webinar session. So, for those of you who are tuning in live, please make sure to fill that up as soon as the link is available later on after our session. And for those who are on Team Replay or those who are not able to join us live today, don't worry because you still have until Friday next week to be able to fill up that evaluation form. But please do make sure that you accomplish it as soon as you can. Once again, we hope that you understand and remember this. And of course, thank you. All right, so let's now meet our guest resource speaker for today. She has been teaching mathematics for 9 years in Xavier School, San Juan, and she has handled both regular and special programs for the subject. The special programs for mathematics would include coaching for local and international competitions and the basics program for struggling learners. Mathematics is often considered to be one of the most challenging subjects for students. In fact, recent surveys report that 37% of teens aged 13 to 17 found math to be harder than other subjects, the highest rank overall. So, if you're out there wondering, does math anxiety really exist among our children? Our session for today will help us be more aware of how our children perceive math and how anxiety for the subject could affect them. This will also guide us as to how we can help our children deal with this kind of anxiety and perform better in the subject. Let's all welcome to our virtual stage Miss Miccaela Marcelo as she guides us on how to tackle and handle this math anxiety among our young children. Teacher Mickey will share with us today some tips and strategies to better address this problem. And there may be a number of reasons, of course, from attention difficulties to learning gaps from past math classes, or even just the lack of practice. So take a look at common reasons students struggle with math and how to find the right help you need to succeed. Let's all give Teacher Mickey our virtual applause.
Thank you so much, Celine, for that introduction. Um, First and foremost, I would like to greet everyone a good morning. I'm very, very happy to be here with you today. And thank you also to Tag Pros for giving me this opportunity to share with you what I know about this very, very interesting topic. Right. So before I begin, may I just get a gauge of my audience today? Can you just type in the comments pane if you are a parent or an educator so that I would know and I would be able to address you properly also? Am I are my our viewers today teachers or parents? Maybe both, no? Ayan. Wow, I can see a future educator. Wow, you are in the right track. And good morning po. Good morning. All right. Okay. So most of us here are educators, no? And most of the educators also in our audience right now are also parents, no, on the side. So this is actually a very, very interesting topic, which is also relevant to all of us. And in fact, our own children and our own students would be actually feeling the anxiety already, no? But then it's just that we fail to recognize, no, we fail to recognize these behaviors that are actually indicators of math anxiety. So hopefully, as we course through this session this morning, we'll be able to define what math anxiety is, at the same time, be able to have a common understanding of what it is to be anxious. What are the certain behaviors, you know, that would indicate that a person or a particular child or a particular student is experiencing math anxiety. At the same time, knowing and recognizing, acknowledging these behaviors would actually help us now give them the optimum support that we should give them as educators and as adults. Okay? So we start with defining math anxiety. Before anything else, let's ask ourselves, if we will define anxiety using one word, what word would we associate it with? Okay. I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it. If I'm going to define anxiety using one word, or if I hear the word anxiety, what word comes into my mind? I want you to think about it. And then if you're ready with your answer, or if you're ready with this particular word, kindly type them also in the comments pane, so that we'll see if all of us have the same feels or same um, idea of what anxiety is. Okay, so I can see here feeling worried, uneasy, stress, fear, you cannot sleep. Yes. All right. Okay, so all of us no have the same um adjective in mind, or the same word in mind, no, that would associate the word anxiety. Okay. So in fact, if you would know, no, Merriam-Webster dictionary and all the other online resources would also define math anxiety the same way that we are defining it now. Okay? Feeling of uncomfortableness, difficulties, struggle in anything, you're feeling worried, scared. All right. So it's the same. Merriam-Webster dictionary would define anxiety as an apprehensive feeling of uneasiness or nervousness over an anticipated or impending event. So the keywords here would be uneasiness, nervousness, event. Those are the three key terms. Why? When you're feeling uneasy or nervous about something, it will be characterized by another emotion. And these one of these emotions would be fear. It could also be um, getting worried about something. It could also be stress, sometimes even anger. No? So anxiety is actually characterized by those emotions. And the bottom line is these emotions are not positive. They are most of the time negative emotions. And as adults, we're very lucky because we get to know already how to handle that. No, we know how to handle stress. We know how to control our emotions. We have our outlets. We have our ways of managing, handling our emotions. But if you would think of it, how will it be if it's our students, our children who are experiencing that? Do they already know how to handle it? Do they already know how to control it? Do they already know how to balance it out so that they will not be too hard on themselves, so that they will not also lead to a more serious kind of emotion, which is, of course, worst comes to worst. No, worst case scenario would be hurting him or herself. No. So that's the big question. How do we get to know also how our students or how our children experience this kind of anxiety? What behavior do they do, or do they show, or do they manifest that would signal us that, oh, this particular student or this particular child is already feeling anxious about something? Okay. So we'll get to know more about that in a little while. Okay. Anxiety is just a tip, no, tip of the umbrella, because anxiety is a very, very broad subject, a very broad kind of emotion. No? And underneath anxiety are the more specific forms of anxiety. And we will focus in one, and that is math anxiety. As mentioned earlier by Celine, math is considered as the most difficult subject, no? Harder than the other subjects. It's even harder than science. When science is very complicated, children would say, math is more complicated. math is more um math is more uh complex. It's more, it's different from science, because for math you have to, there's a certain rule that you need to follow, something like that. And because of that particular feeling, no, we get to because of that particular idea that math is difficult, math is very complicated, we develop negative emotional reactions to it. And that is what we mean by math anxiety. So we consider any negative emotional reaction to mathematics as math anxiety. Okay. And of course, anxiety, just like what you said here in the comments pane, no, it's related to stress and fear. So we'll try to see, no, it's easy kasi to say na math anxiety is, feeling stressful about math. You get afraid about solving a word problem when you're faced with a worksheet containing numbers. You feel sick already, you want to go to the bathroom, you want to throw up, diba? So it's easy to say those things, it's easy to describe anxiety as that, no? But if we're going to put it in real life, how do our children really experience this particular kind of anxiety? How do our children manifest anxiety? Because, let's be honest to ourselves, no? We can say that, oh, a student is misbehaving, a certain off-task behavior. For example, you gave your students 10 minutes, answer this particular set of pages in your workbook. And then um, your student is not doing anything. Okay? What is our usual tendency? But we will call his attention, we will call her attention, and we would tell him or her to focus. And then if he is still not doing it, if he's still in his off-task behavior, you will reprimand. Diba? You would already think of ways on how you can, reprimand that boy and say, I've given you already so much time, but uh how come you haven't even started? Your classmates are already almost done with the task, and yet you haven't even started. How will you ace the test if this is how you will, if this is how you would work? So, you know, uh we we as adults and educators sometimes fall into that kind of um way of dealing with off-task behaviors, no? And that actually is something that is, something that we need to look into. We need to revisit that, because that particular practice, believe me or not, can actually trigger math anxiety to our students. Okay? Sometimes I'm not saying that it's our fault as adults, as teachers, no. I'm not saying also that we are doing something, we are the ones triggering math anxiety. But partly, we are the ones responsible for that also. Partly, we are the ones who are in the position to address those concerns, those issues of our students. And it is our role as educators, it's part of our role as educators to help them, to give them support, right? So let's try to zoom in, no? Zoom in our understanding of math anxiety. So now let's try to describe it. Okay, of course, it's easy to define. Science terms, dictionary terms. It's easy to define it, diba? But then, if you are inside the classroom, if you are tutoring your son, if you are teaching your own child, how would you know if your boy or if your son or your daughter or your student is already feeling anxious about math? Okay. So before we go into that part, no, let's ask ourselves. Of course, children, actually even us adults, no, we will not be feeling anxious if there is no triggering factor. Okay? What causes it ba? What causes this particular anxiety? Did we do something that triggered them to feel anxious about our subject? Probably yes. Okay. So, what are these causes? Number one is poor preparation. It's inevitable that there will be students who are fast workers and students who are slow workers. Okay. And every time we give an assessment to our students, I know you would agree with me as teachers, no, that before we give the assessment to our students, of course, we do a lot of preparation. We teach them the subject, diba? We teach them the concept, we give them examples, we present them with exercises, and we discuss. We also give them different methods as to how to solve a particular problem, for example. Okay? So we present them, we give them. Sometimes you would say, pa, we spoon feed them with the needed skills, no, in preparation for this assessment. But are you sure that that is enough? You have to look into also, how did I present it? Yes, quantity is there. You provided them with enough materials. You provided them um, with examples, no, that are similar, not really similar, but parallel to the assessment questions. So you would know that this test can be answered by my students because I taught them how to deal with these kinds of questions. But then we are not just quantitative here. We are also qualitative. Okay. How did we explain? Are the quality of questions, for example, is this particular problem similar to what's in the test? Is it really parallel to the test? If I'm teaching addition here, if I'm teaching addition and subtraction or a multi-step word problem, how to solve it? That's your preparation. And then come in the test, you give them problems about multiplication and division. Diba? Sometimes you have to check also, are we aligned? Are we preparing them right? So sometimes poor preparation can also lead to math anxiety. Another could be comprehension struggles. Not all learners are readers. Okay? Most of the time, problem arises when if you would notice lang po, no, when you give them a word problem, there are students who can easily solve it. They know already what to do. Okay? And but then there are some students, when you give them a problem to solve, it takes time just for them to read the problem because they could not comprehend. Okay? Because math is also a language. So we have to look into comprehension struggles also. Is this particular boy feeling anxious because he could not understand what the problem is about? Is he feeling anxious about this particular task because he doesn't know what to do? Because he could not read the instructions? Because he could not understand what the teacher wants us to do? So it's more on the comprehension struggle. Number 3 is peer pressure. This is very, very evident inside the classroom. Just like what I said earlier, there are children who are fast workers and there are children who are slow workers. And most often than not, what happens inside the classroom is if you give them a certain task, the students who are fast workers would finish the task within a matter of 5-10 minutes. And what they'll do is they will tell you, teacher, I'm already done. Teacher, I'm done already. What can I do next? Teacher, I'm finished. Teacher, it took me 5 minutes only to work on this particular task. Teacher, the task is so easy. Hearing that, coming from the perspective of um, the slow workers, once they hear that, they would say, oh, you're done already. I'm just in number one. They're done with the 10-item test. I'm still struggling with number one. Worse, I don't even know what to do. They're already done. So what am I going to do now? And that's where the anxiety arises. No? That's where um, certain emotions arise. Number 4 is no support system. What do I mean by this? No support system would mean teacher is very masungit. I could not approach my teacher. I'm struggling with this particular topic. I wanted to ask help from my teacher, but it seems like the teacher doesn't want to talk to me. Or it seems like the teacher is not available to give me additional help. Or scenario number 2, I wanted to ask my classmate who's good in math. But then he thinks that, because I do not understand this, because I'm asking help from him or from her, that person thinks that, I'm dumb. So there's no support system. Where will this particular student now who's struggling in math ask help from? And that makes him feel very lonely. No one is here to help me. So what will I do? And then again, the emotions will rise. Anxiety will come into place, right? And the last one is neglect for individual differences. This is very evident also, just like peer pressure, inside the classroom. Us teachers, well, back when we were still studying, admit it or not, our teachers before would tell us this is how you solve this particular problem. This is the formula that you need to follow, that you need to use in order to solve it. This is the only way to answer this particular math question, right? Now, our children now are very creative. We have to understand that. Okay? Very creative. They may arrive at the same answer, but they may have different processes as to how they arrive at that particular answer. But the thing is, because we are so much stuck to this idea, this mentality, this kind of mindset that there is only one particular way of solving a particular problem, that there is only one solution to every problem, we tend to ignore and consider that this particular student made a mistake. That even if this particular student, this particular child got this answer correctly, but because his or her strategy is different, that's wrong for you. That's neglecting differences, neglecting the creativity, ignoring the fact that your students are creative in finding solutions to an answer. There are no alternatives. You're closing the doors for that. That makes them feel sad about it. Oh, I have to do it the way teacher does, but I don't know how to do her style. I don't know how to do it her way. I have my own way, but I have to do it her way. So now the student gets anxious about it. This particular student now has fear that he might fail, that she might um not get it because teacher did not teach it this way, and this is how she solved it. Now she's pressured she's forced to do it the way we want them to do it. Diba? That makes them anxious. Now, knowing the causes of math anxiety, we now know that, oh, these are the triggering factors as to how math anxiety can be developed, that would trigger this particular kind of anxiety amongst our students. How will our students manifest it now? How will our students show us that they are anxious and that they need our number one, which is very, very common. Okay. When you give them a certain math task, there will be students, teacher, frequently to. It's not frequently, but more on habitual. Every math period, when you're giving them exercises, there is this particular student who would tell you, who would ask you, teacher, can I go to the bathroom? Teacher, my tummy aches. I need to go to the clinic. Teacher, I need to do this. I need to do that. That could be a sign of anxiety. They are avoiding math at all costs. Okay? They are avoiding it because, number one, the problem may be difficult for them because they do not know what to do. They're trying to avoid it because there is this fear that, oh, teacher might call me to give this answer. Teacher might call me to explain, but I do not know how to do it. And I could not ask help from anyone. So they're doing their best not to get called. They're doing their best not to get the spotlight, not to be, um, not to be called by the teacher and not to be, the one explaining it to the class. So they are avoiding it. Okay. This may seem normal, no? They just have to go to the bathroom. Teachers would be in denial, no? Telling us na, oh, they're just going to the bathroom. They're just going to the infirmary. They're just going to the clinic. So what's wrong with that? Really? Every math time? Every math period? Every time you give them a problem, this particular boy will have an off-task behavior, doing something else, giving them a lot of time, and yet this particular boy does not want to do it? Probably there's something wrong. Probably there is something that we have to look into already. It may not just be a habit of going to the bathroom every math period, but maybe we have to sit down and know what's going on. Okay? Another manifestation of math anxiety amongst our students is lack of response. Okay? Lack of response would be taking so much time to give an answer. When you read a problem in class out loud, John has 2 apples. Patrick has 3 apples. How many apples do they have all together? And then you suddenly call this particular student. Okay, Stacy, can you give us the answer? If John has 2 apples and Mark has 2 apples, then how many apples do they have? So not it would, of course, not just surprise them, but they might need time to give you an answer. But because we fail to see that they need time to answer, what they do, they will just end up getting a mental block. They will just stare at you. They will just look at you, keep quiet while standing up. They will stutter. Um, the answer, if John has 2 apples and Mark has 3 apples, um, how many will they have? And then your students will just be frozen like that. Okay. So that is not something that, that student, is not a good student in math. She doesn't know the lesson. She's not, that particular student is not doing well in class. So he or she is not a good performer. So it's normal. No, it's not normal. Let me tell you, it's not normal. Okay. If it's taking so much time for them already to give you an answer, if they are already stuttering, if they are already having episodes of mental block, it means that something is going on. There is an emotion already. They might be nervous. Why? Because you called them on the spot. At the same time, they might be afraid already. Why? Because you did not give them time to think. You just call them and ask them for the answer. And if they get it wrong, his or her classmates will be around looking at him or her and laughing at the same time, right? And worst case scenario, the teacher would even insult the student. You would tell the student, "Ha, it's just 2 plus 3, you do not know?" Diba? So when you say those things, it will not just help you. It will not help the student at all. It will just make him or her be more anxious. Okay? Number 3, they will exhibit tears or anger. When you give them an individual practice, okay, I'm giving you this seat work, this particular worksheet based on our lesson today. But then because of poor preparation, because the teacher explained it so fast, that the students were not able to grasp what the teacher is telling them, what the teacher is explaining to them. Of course, tendency is they would not know how to answer the worksheet that you gave them. They will not be able to comprehend, what am I going to do again? How did we do it in the discussion earlier? How am I supposed to do it again? Or the teacher did not ask them to take down notes or did not give them the time to take down notes. So where will I refer now? How will I don't have any guide. So how will I answer this now? And that makes the student get disappointed. Disappointed that I do not know how to solve it. My classmates do, but I don't. And this particular student will now get frustrated because it's taking him so much time to finish the task. And the teacher is very strict with the time. I'm only giving you 10 minutes. Finish or not finish. Blah, 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 blah. Of course, your students would be, crying silently there. Sometimes would be angry. Worst case, throwing tantrums. My student is just acting up. This particular boy is just, really like this. He's, in Filipino, matigas ang ulo niya eh. Talagang siya, sutil. Eh? It's not like that, my dear teachers. When a student gets disappointed, frustrated, go to him right away. Go to her right away. Ask her what's up. What's wrong? Are you having a difficulty? Why? Because he will not cry over something that's as petty as, you know, a pencil that's broken. As little as he forgot his notebook, he forgot his something. He will not cry like that if you're giving him a math task. But if you can see already that he's disappointed, that he is frustrated, then I think it's about time that you do something about it as well. Okay? And the last one, which is very much common among our students, is negative self talk. Have you ever heard your students saying, I know I will fail this test. I know that I won't be able to solve it. I give up. Or I do not know what to do. So I'll just let my teacher mark an F. I'll just let my teacher give me a failing mark. I don't want to solve it anymore. That's negative self talk. Okay. He's having negative thoughts already when doing math tasks. Or sometimes your teacher, I would relate a personal experience. I have this student in 5th grade. Every time he answers the test, he would tell me, Miss Marcelo, I know I'll get an F in this test. And every single time, every after math period, I sit down with that boy and ask him, why do you think so? What makes you say so? I know you did your best, so I don't think that you'll get an F. Huh? He has a very low self-confidence and does not believe in his own abilities. He's giving me already answers like, because I know that I'm failing, because math is hard, because I only have 20 minutes to answer and I could not solve number 1. So I told myself I'll just give up and I'll just, let be. Having that kind of negative thoughts already, being negative about himself or herself, not believing that he did or she did her best, is actually a red flag already for math anxiety. Okay. That can be considered already as an indicator for math anxiety. Okay. So, what is the result? Of course, it will not give or it will not yield to a good result. What is the usual result of math anxiety? Students fail. Students fail. Students have low self esteem. They're not confident and they do not trust themselves. They do not trust their own abilities. And us teachers, what do we see? Um, how do we see them? Low performing. We even brand them as a struggling learner. Even if he knows, but he's just, having a hard time, you would say that, oh, he's the lowest in class. He is the, he's not the smartest in class. You would already label the person. You will already label the student. But you don't actually know yet what's going on what's going on in our students. We do not know yet if our students are really low performing or is it because of something else. And that's what we need to look into. Okay? So now that we know how our students would show us that they're having a hard time in math and that they are feeling anxious about our subject, I think it's about time that we do something about it. I think it's about time that we make use of ourselves as adults and as educators. So, how do we address? We are not addressing math anxiety because we want to end it. Math anxiety will always be there. Any form of anxiety will always be there. Believe me or not, even us adults, I myself am anxious also at some point. You are also anxious at anything at the moment, right? So we are not just addressing, but we are just giving them the support, giving them the optimum support that we could, helping them to overcome it. We are not putting a stop to it because we can never stop anxiety. Okay? All that we can do as adults, as teachers, as parents is just to help them manage, help them handle the anxiety. So what are some of the tips? No, I'll give you 4 tips on how you can help our students, how we can help and give support to our children. Number one is giving them think time. Okay? Don't just present them with a problem and then demand a solution, demand an answer right away. If before classes starts, you have already prepared an answer key to your questions, never, never, ever think that they will have the same or that they will do the same. Because, of course, they do not know what you are discussing today. They do not know how you will explain to them how you will solve a particular problem in class. So give them time. Time not just to work on their strategy, but also time to just, calm down, read the problem, try to get ideas, use context clues to figure out what is given in my problem. What am I trying to solve for? And what can I do to solve this particular problem? Give them time to think, right? Number 2, use healthy and positive messages. If your student or your child makes a mistake along the way, do not um, shatter them by saying negative things. Ano ka ba naman? Ang dali-dali lang nito. Hindi mo pa magawa. Ba? This is just a very easy question and yet it's taking you so much time. My goodness. Don't say those things to your child if you don't want your child to feel bad about himself. Because at the end of the day, it's you who to blame. Use healthy and positive messages. Okay? Tell them, it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone is not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Only God is perfect. And we make mistakes. So it's okay. Try again. Do you need help? I can help you with that. Engage in healthy conversations with your students. Boys, if you have questions, feel free to let me know. Just tell me, ask me the question. I'm here to help you. Give them the assurance that it's okay. 1, to make mistakes, and 2, to seek help. Because if they have that kind of mindset, now okay, I know that I can ask teacher. I know that it's okay to make mistakes. Then the confidence will not be at risk. It's okay lang pala to make mistakes, so it's okay. I'll solve it the way I want to solve it. Then I'll just ask teacher if it's okay, if it's right or wrong. And if it's wrong, at least teacher could help me deal with it. So the outlook of the student, the way the student or the child will perceive a difficult math problem will be different now, because there is someone who would give him or her encouragement. And that leads to number 3, creating a support system. What do you mean by support system, Mickey? Support system would be, number 1, do a buddy system. This may work. Partner a struggling learner to a fast worker and try to um, build this kind of relationship amongst your students, I'm sure your high achievers would love it that they are helping somebody. I am sure that they will be more than willing to help their classmates because the self-esteem would be there that, oh, I my teacher believes in me that I'm good in math. So I'll prove to her by helping this classmate. And then this classmate now who's struggling in math would, gain confidence because somebody's there to help him. Somebody is there to guide him. Of course, it's a matter of how you plan it also. Because, tendencies of, the student will not help the other is still there. But with careful planning and with, good partnering of students, you'll be able to create a good support system for those struggling learners. Number two, kind of support that we could give is conducting consultation periods. Oh, if you're having a hard time with our lesson today, if you're having difficulties with this particular topic, feel free to visit me in the faculty room. I'll be more than willing to help you. And then the student now will come to you. Teacher, can you help me with this problem? Because you discussed this earlier, but I had a hard time. And sitting down with them, explaining to them how it's answered, how it's solved, would actually help them already. Not just build the confidence, but know that there is someone who they could depend on for support. And of course, if um, peer uh, peer consultations or um, consultation periods with the teacher won't help, of course, there are other different types of support system. You can seek external support. Okay? You might want to also consult another teacher, or as parents, you might want to ask other parents or ask other teachers, no, or someone who knows how to solve it in order for you to be able to help your sons. Or if you are too busy, I know everyone's busy. If you're too busy, then go for external math help. Get a tutor for your son. I'm not saying that you should, no, but you can look into those kinds of possibilities, no, ways to help, because after all, we're not into how much it is. Um we're not into the logistics, no, but we're after the care that we can give. Because all we want at the end of the day is to give optimum support. We want to maximize everything just to help our son, help our daughter, help our students. So that is the kind of support system that we can, create. Okay. So it can be just individual, one by one, small group, or a larger group. So it's up to you. As long as the idea is we are creating a support system for them. Because the general idea is that we don't want them to be left behind. We don't want them to feel alone, that there's no one there to help them, and that they are just doing it on their own. You are just promoting math anxiety more than helping them out. And the last one is acknowledging differences. Your students, just like what I said earlier, our students are very creative. They have different ways of answering a particular problem. Your solution may be different from theirs. His solution may be different from her solution. And we have to acknowledge that because that's their way of thinking. That's how they solve it. As long as it makes sense, as long as it leads to the correct answer, then why not consider that correct? Acknowledge, because that would also help them think na, oh, so I don't have to be stuck with getting teacher's solution right. Um, I don't have to make sure that I am following teacher's step-by-step way of solving the problem. I can have my own way, and teacher is okay with it. See the more positive way of dealing with math problems, dealing with the math task. They will have a positive attitude towards it now because there is an acknowledgement, an affirmation from the teacher. Okay? All these things are these particular tips will not just um, help our students manage their emotions, build the self-esteem, build the self-confidence, but also we are pulling them out of the fixed mindset that I cannot do this. This work is okay, or this is too hard. We are pulling them out of that particular stigma that math is hard. Math is too difficult. That every time there's math, I give up. I'm okay to fail. I'm a failure. We are removing them from that particular mindset and we are pulling them towards the growth mindset. I can try a different strategy. I can make mistakes. Teacher can wait for me. Teacher can acknowledge my different strategy. I can ask help from anyone. And that would build a more positive, positive outlook, a positive perspective of the subject. Okay. So I hope that, you know, we as educators, I hope that with the session that we just had, I hope that all of us will not just, give support to our students, but look into also ourselves. Us as educators, think about this set of questions that I am imparting to you as I close this session. Number one, revisit your practices. Am I a contributing factor to the anxiety of my students? Am I triggering math anxiety amongst my students? And then be more observant also. Are my students really okay when it comes to math? Are there some students who, are manifesting some behaviors that might need to be addressed? What are these behaviors? What are the reasons why this particular boy or girl is misbehaving? Is it because of something else? Or is it because he's having a hard time? Try to be more reflective in terms of those things. And at the same time, think about this also. How can I be of help? Okay. And that hopefully would help us manage math anxiety, help us help our students be more positive towards the subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Teacher Mickey, for sharing your expertise with us. So, teachers, let's all give, of course, again, Teacher Mickey a big round of applause, virtual applause. Okay, so at this point, we'll be moving on to our open forum, and this is our opportunity to ask Teacher Mickey some of the questions that we might have. Some of you were already sharing a couple of your questions and insights in the comment section a while earlier, and we have gathered some of those questions. Now, for those of you who still have a couple of questions in mind that they have not been able to type down yet, you can put them in the comment section, and we'll try our best to have them answered by Teacher Mickey. So, Teacher Mickey will respond to the questions that you've sent us, and we'll go through them one by one. Again, you may continue posting your questions and comments, and we will begin with our first question. The first question, Teacher Mickey, is dyscalculia the same as math anxiety, or I guess, can it contribute to math anxiety?
Okay. Dyscalculia is a learning disability. No, when we say learning disability, it has other psychological contributing factors. Math anxiety is simply just the fear of um doing a math task. So
Mm.
it's just having a negative emotion towards a particular math task. If it progresses, um they are different, no, Celine, but it can contribute to dyscalculia if we will not be able to address and give support to a student who's experiencing math anxiety already, because dyscalculia um is more of having a real fear na. It's not just feeling anxious, feeling worried about math, but this particular person is really afraid of math. Sometimes it could be, um, it could make the person really sick, you know, just by seeing numbers and so on. So I believe, no, math anxiety is different, but it can contribute. So it's really a must now that us teachers as adults, um, we should already start, working on our ways to help our students.
All right, thank you so much for that, Teacher Mickey. We do have a couple more questions, of course. Our next question is, how would you slowly introduce math to young learners? So I'm assuming we mean here like very young learners, maybe just starting
Mm,
out with school.
okay. I believe that our students, our children, no, young learners, like as early as 2 years old, 1.5, would already know how to do math.
Mhm.
And how do they start? With the toys that they play. They are more, the tactile things that they have, the more concrete ones. You can start from that. If your son or your daughter likes playing, um, for example, your son likes playing toy cars, why not make use of that? And then just say, oh, this is 1, 2, 3, and then do the same thing, repeat. And then your son will now um, get to learn math, not the formal kind of math, but at least learning how to count, with the use of the things that he loves. Same goes with your daughters. For example, if your daughter naman likes playing with Barbie dolls, and then there are um, you know the Barbie doll shoes. No? Oh, Barbie has one shoe, two shoes, etc. So you can start with that, using concrete objects, that one can be found at home. Number two, your children actually like to play with. Start with that because the attention is already there, the interest is already there. So you just have to inject the math concepts. So I think that's how I could suggest introducing math to younger ones.
That's very interesting, Teacher Mickey. Actually, yes, right? I actually didn't think of that before you mentioned it. Na our kids really do pick up on math concepts even before they start learning, even as simple as, the informal math that they do with counting and things like that. So that's very interesting to take into consideration. We do have a follow-up question for that, and that is it okay to teach students, or is it okay to teach kids math in the mother tongue?
Yes, of course. Um, as mentioned earlier, no, you can start with simple counting lang. 1, 2, 3, until 10. Because usually naman kindergarten will just count until 10, extended until 20, as per curriculum is concerned. What you can do is to teach them with the language that they are used to. If you converse to them in Ilocano, then you count in Ilocano. If you if they are exposed or if they're used um to Ilonggo, then teach them math using the Ilonggo language, no, the dialect. So it's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be in English all the time. It doesn't have to be in Filipino all the time. But of course, as they go to school, formal education would teach them now using English and Filipino sometimes, no, and even other languages, no, international languages, if it's part of the curriculum. But I believe um, it won't make any difference, no, it won't be harmful, it won't make your children any less competitive if you teach them how to count using the mother tongue, or if you teach them math concepts using the mother tongue. So I think it's okay.
All right, thank you, Teacher Mickey. Actually, that's an interesting question because I think the math anxiety is you kind of become afraid of math because you're not comfortable with it or
Mhm.
you don't really completely understand it. And I think just to add to what you said, starting off with mother tongue makes the kids more comfortable with it as well. It makes it feel more familiar to them, I guess, or more approachable because it's being taught to them in a way that they already understand or they already know, and then they can just kind of transfer that learning later on. So a couple more questions. This is a nice question, actually. This next one is a very interesting question. As a parent, if I'm also not confident in my mathematic capabilities, what references can you refer, or maybe resources can be referred to help the parent be able to help the kid as well to be able to understand math?
If your child is a school kid already, I suggest that you take advantage of the parent teacher conferences. Seek help from the teachers. Um, Ask them how they explain it in class. I am very sure educators naman would be very much willing to help you because of course we're after the idea that there is follow up at home, right? So as a parent, knowing how it's done in school can already, can give you an idea already of how you will explain it to your sons, especially if your son is used to, the teacher explaining it to him or her in this particular manner, no? So that's one. Number two is, of course, seek help from outside sources. You can, there are a lot of online resources that you can um, refer to. You can just go online and download a particular video, diba, of how to solve this problem. Or you can seek, there are a lot, no, a lot of organizations that are, helping, catering to parents who are, having difficulties also with how to teach their son math, no, so you can consult them at any time. I'm sure there are a lot of organizations that are very much willing to give you um resources or could guide you along the way, no, so that's another. And then of course, um what you can do also is to educate yourself. Try to sit down, listen to webinars also. If there are, opportunities for you to attend webinars, attend um, uh, a workshop on mathematics, try to sit down also, especially if it's free naman, diba? Take advantage of those things because you are not just looking using the lenses of a parent but also as a teacher. No, you're using two lenses, no, when you teach your child, no. So um I guess that would help you, no, uh be able to not just hopefully, no, it will it will make you gain confidence that you are a math expert also, or you know math also, but at the same time project a positive math attitude to your son. Kasi you cannot to your son or to your daughter. Kasi you cannot show to your son and daughter na, "I do not know this also." So, 'di ba? You cannot tell your son that. You cannot tell your daughter that na, "My child, I do not know how to do it. I do not know how to solve it also." Then it will just trigger na, "Oh, I cannot ask help from my mom. I cannot ask help from my dad. So, I don't have the support system at home." So, it will just trigger the anxiety, no? So, do not reflect to them. Do not project to them a negative behavior also towards math. So, you try to, since we are the um more resourceful ones, then let's find a way, no, to help ourselves and help our children as well.
Mhm. Okay, so as follow-up questions to that, teacher Mickey, you mentioned something about, as a parent, also having to, of course, understand the concepts yourself to be able to support your child as well. Actually, this topic really hit home for me, the math anxiety topic, because I've mentioned this to you. I mentioned this to teacher Mickey in some of our previous conversations, and I actually also developed math anxiety when I was younger, and up to now, I'm already a full-grown adult, and math is something that seems very overwhelming to me. So, what about for those parents who maybe as younger children they also develop that math anxiety, and then they brought it later on in life up to adulthood? Is it too late for them to kind of recover from that anxiety, or are there ways that they can still deal with that, um, those feelings or that situation or that perception of math?
Actually, math anxiety is just there, no. It dies down a little over time, but it's just there. And every time there is something that can trigger it, you would feel anxious about the subject, no. I myself, I am a math teacher for 9 years already, and every time we prepare lessons, no, I always get this some sort of anxiety of how do I solve this particular problem if questions like, if I explain it to my students, will they get to understand it? What if they don't? What will I do? 'Di ba? That is already triggering an anxiety na, oh, it might not go well. Our session, our lesson might not go well as planned. No. So it's really there, no. And it's not something that you should, feel bad about na you're an adult already and yet you're feeling anxious about math. It's normal. What you can do is to create a support system, find someone who you could, ask help from. I am so sure you have a lot of friends, no? You have um a lot of peers who could help you. They may not be the expert in the subject. They cannot be a math teacher. It doesn't have to be a math teacher. It doesn't have to be the principal of the school. It doesn't have to be uh a proprietor of a certain institution. No, it doesn't have to be like that. As simple as your neighbor. You can ask your neighbor. I have this particular question. Tama ba? Am I correct with my solution? Because I'm trying to teach my son. Converse. Engage into conversations because it would help a lot. You know, um, don't just take it to yourself. Don't just keep it within you because it will not help. Okay. If you are shy, because of course you might not have the courage, no, to ask your neighbor, to ask somebody in the house, no, or to ask someone. in about this particular problem or this particular concern that you have, then there are a lot of online resources. You can go to YouTube, just watch how to solve this particular problem, or just key in the what do you call this? Key in the topic in Google, and then they would provide you already with hundreds, thousands of resources that
Mhm.
um, can help you understand, no, the concept. And of course, you can also go to external support systems, like ask help from um yun nga, like what I said earlier, organizations that could help you, like consult a tutorial service
Mhm.
provider and ask how you could help. It just takes you some ano talaga, effort to look for um ways on how we could help one another, no? It's just a matter of being resourceful lang talaga. So I think, going back to the question, I think it's okay. It's okay to feel anxious, have this math anxiety even at this particular age. And what we discussed earlier, the tips and the red flags would also apply to us, no? So knowing these would actually help us already help one another in um giving support and addressing math anxiety.
That's very reassuring, actually, as maybe even some of our audience members can relate, and at least we're reassured that it's okay to feel that way, and it does happen even to the best of us, even to experts like yourself, who's already like a math teacher. You did mention as well something about resources, about online resources, like looking it up on YouTube. Now, should those YouTube tutorials be something, especially for math teachers, should it be something that you welcome into the discussion or into your class? Because I have seen students who say things like, I didn't understand what happened in class. I didn't understand the lesson. So I went to YouTube and researched about that particular lesson. And then that's how I learned it. So is that something that we can welcome? Or what about for students who don't make an effort anymore to listen in class because they can look for it in YouTube? How do we deal with those kinds of situations?
Actually, um we can we acknowledge them, no. Well, as a teacher myself, no, I welcome students telling me, teacher, um I did not understand our lesson yesterday, so what I did was to get more help by watching a YouTube video, and I found this. And then what you can do is try to ask that student to explain, no? Sige nga,
Mhm.
can you try working on this? And then let's see how his strategy based on that YouTube video works, no? And see lang if it's a possible
Mhm.
strategy, since our students are very creative. So if that strategy would work, then why not welcome it? Why not acknowledge it, diba? It's part of the growth mindset, no? Because we are promoting the growth mindset that um it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay that you don't get it the first time. And there are different ways on how you can solve a particular
Mhm.
problem. So I believe we can. Well, I do know. I acknowledge students who would refer to YouTube, to Qubits, to other learning platforms, online resources, no, just to help them. Because of course, we cannot be with them all the time. So, we are not there 24/7 so that they could ask us for help, no. So they would really really resort to seeking help from outside sources, and that's okay, as long as the idea is they learn. You're not after naman the idea that they should learn it the way I want them to learn it, no. It's not like that. Okay, they learn on their own. They can learn um at their own pace, own style, so it's okay. as long as the bottom line is, as long as they learn and they have mastered the skill, then I don't think there's a problem.
All right. Thank you, Teacher Mickey. Actually, that's a great advice. We shouldn't be so rigid or maybe so strict with how we teach our kids certain concepts because, again, like you said, the bottom line is at the end of the day, what you really want is for them to understand it and for them to learn it. And if that means them having to learn it maybe in different ways from the way that we taught it, at least, like you said, let's acknowledge it.
Mhm.
Let's at least celebrate that they learn how to do it anyway. Okay, a couple more questions here. Would it be a good idea to give rewards in a class every time that maybe those learners who are struggling with math did a good job, like maybe giving them stickers or some other rewards like candy or simple tokens like
Um, you can give extrinsic rewards like candy, stickers, if that's what will make you happy also as a teacher. And that would give the student the assurance that um, he's doing well or he's doing good in class.
that?
But the term in the question kasi says every time. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessary naman to give every time, no, every single time kasi they might get used to it. The tendency is that they might be after the reward na lang, 'di ba? That they will do good in math because they know they will get something in return.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no love for the subject anymore. There's no natural interest to the subject anymore. They're just after the reward. So maybe you can give rewards, but not just in terms of extrinsic ones, the concrete ones, but maybe as simple as verbal praises or, recognizing them in class. Siguro that would help, no? Kasi the idea is you are giving them the affirmation that they they did the right thing, that they got it right in math, no? Given that they are very anxious nga with this particular math concept or math question, no? So yes, extrinsic rewards are okay. It could boost their confidence a little, but do not give that often kasi that will not be the case anymore when they get used to it. So I think yun nga, other forms of rewards like verbal praises and recognition could also be of help.
All right. Thank you, Teacher Mickey. Our next question is, how do we sustain the quality of learning concepts as there are times that our empathy is being abused? Or I guess not really being abused, but the situation I'm imagining here is like, what if, let's say, right, you're having to accommodate those learners who are struggling during class. So how are you able to keep up with the rest of the class, or how are you able to cater as well to maybe the fast learners if you're having to also cater to or accommodate the learners who are struggling and you need to provide them extra support? How can we make sure that the quality of learning is still there for every member of the class?
Um, if you are inside the classroom, of course, you're limited to how you will explain a particular math concept, no? Because this is how it's designed, how it's planned. Maybe that's the reason why you can provide them with um consultation periods. I think I am not certain if this would really answer the question, but providing them with consultation periods after school help, no, would not just target the struggling learners but also the ones who are high achieving, no. In fact, based on experience, we have this consultation period in school. It's usually after class hours, and students would just come into our Zoom meetings and would ask us questions about the lesson. And there was this time when a student asked me, Miss Marcelo, I will be participating in this math competition. Can you give me exercises, and of course we accommodate that. We give them help also. So I think providing them equal chances, no, or opening up an opportunity for them to consult you, whether it's for help or for more or supplementary or um more examples, more activities, would do, no, but do not do it within the class period. I suggest, no, not to do it within the class period, because of course um you'll get attached to one group in the classroom only, diba? If you will give help to the struggling learners alone, then you will forget already the high achieving ones. So what will they do while you are helping them, diba? So maybe what you can do is to go on with your usual discussion, and then after the discussion, just tell them if you want to consult anything, may it be something about the lesson today or something that's related to our subject, may it
Mhm.
be um something that you're having a difficulty in or something else, no, just feel free, no, to visit me in the faculty room, or if they are online, you can just send me an email. I'll help you, no. But um I don't think the quality of learning will be sacrificed there, because it will be the same when you teach them inside the classroom, no. It's just that um you are catering to their individual differences, no, after. So if they don't take that opportunity, then it's okay. It's not something that, it's not their loss. It's not your loss as well. So I think, the consultation periods after class would um be better.
Mhm. Okay. On that topic, actually, Teacher Mick, since we mentioned
Mhm.
also earlier, prior that you are also handling the basics program at school. So if, let's say, our teachers here want to maybe emulate that, create something similar for their kids, would you recommend that schools also have something similar to the basics program, where you will set aside a different class for learners who maybe are struggling a little with the math concepts? Would that be recommended for schools? And how can maybe some schools or groups do something similar to it? What can they do to actually create a program like that for themselves or for their own institutions?
Okay. Um Other factors that can affect students' attitude towards math could be, of course, one, bigger class size, but that's just, minimal lang naman. It's not the major contributing factors, no. Class size, at the same time, the how conducive the classroom is, the classroom environment itself, no. So sometimes it contributes to um, how our students perform, no? So I think if the schools would try to um, do a basics class also, then I would suggest that they do, no? Because the basics classes, well, just for the information of everyone, no, when we say basics class in Xavier, we um, conduct math classes, and then simultaneously we pull out struggling learners, no, who we think that, based on the diagnostic test and the um, other psychological tests, no, that they are really struggling in math, then we pull them out and we give them a more individualized kind of um, session, no? But it's not very far from what they are learning inside the classroom, because once they are put back to the classroom, of course they have to be at par with the regular students. Okay, so um, I suggest, no, I would recommend that you do basics classes also. Just try to look into it, no. If you want, you can also observe. You can visit schools, no. If you're interested, you can visit schools, who are conducting basics classes. No, I'm not so sure if in other schools it's also called basics, but that would give kasi the students a more personal touch, no, on the subject, and that since it's more individualized for them, they would have this feeling na I'm really getting the help that I need. The teacher is really there to give me the support that I need to master also the math skills. So I think I would recommend that if you would ask for my perspective on that. I would recommend.
Okay, thank you so much, Teacher Mickey. Another question we have here, I think we're moving on to our last few, one or two questions. Another question is, how do you deal with students saying that most of the things they learn in math, they don't use them in daily life? How can we make it more relevant for our students?
Maybe
Mhm.
well, what we do in school, no? When we teach a certain math concept to our students, we always give them real life examples. We use real life contexts. We integrate current events, no, so that they will have a feel of how it is applied in the real world. And we always um, make sure that at the end of the day, we ask our students, how do you apply this in real life? And then we always give them also ideas that you can apply this when you do this particular task. Did you know that just by doing this, you're doing math already? So, it's a matter of um, how you make your students know see also the beauty in math and how it's applicable in real life. So maybe what you can do in order to avoid no students saying this na I don't use it naman in real life, so why study math, 'di ba? Maybe is by, trying to tweak also our lesson plans. Try to tweak our instruction and provide them with opportunities to reflect on how it could be applicable in real life. Give them real life examples. When you're teaching uh, addition and subtraction, for example, or multiplication and division, give them real scenarios. Like, for example, they're going to the grocery, they're buying this, they're buying that. So, if I want to buy 3 cans of sardines and each sardine costs this much, then how much is it? Try to somehow simulate a real example in your lesson. Don't get stuck with Celine has 5 apples. Mickey has 3 times as many apples as Celine. So how many does Mickey have? Don't get too stuck with that because they're tired of it already. Give them a
Mhm.
more realistic example na the prices, the what do you call this? A price of a kilogram of rice in this particular year is this one. In 2022, the price of rice is now twice as much as back in 2020. So what is the price of the rice now? And then it would actually promote pa curiosity to
Mhm.
the students na really? So if I'm going to buy rice now, it would cost this much. Diba they would ask you questions na really, teacher, if I go to the market now and buy a kilogram of, for example, a kilogram of sayote, will it
Mhm.
cost this much now? Something like that. So then you will just challenge them. Okay, then go check it for yourself, and they would say, oh nga, no, teacher, it's like this nga, it's this much na. So it would, make them more excited about the subject, and they would not think of, so how am I going to apply now? How is, how is ratio applicable in real life? How will I do, where will I use percentage in my life? Where will I use fraction in my life? Diba? Instead of them asking you that, then they would ask you now this question. aside from baking, where else can I apply it? So
Mhm.
different na yung question. More realistic na, more personal na on their end. And they're not asking you if it's applicable in real life, but where else? Because they know already that it's applicable in real life. Diba? So you know, you are modifying the way they ask questions, the way they see math in real life. Something like that.
Okay. Thank you, Teacher Mickey. Very interesting. Actually, in social studies, yeah, we actually talk about things like taxes, for example, or, you know, budgeting, how to, for example, how does the government budget the taxes that we have, things like that. And you
Mhm.
can see that they're actually relating it to like their math lessons and like, oh, teacher, we did this in math and it's like this. And it's great to see how these subjects can actually kind of mesh together or they can be integrated with one another. So I think that's a great idea. And I think maybe it would be a good idea as well for our teachers to kind of just like what you do, what we do in Xavier, right? You reach out to other teachers in other subjects, ask them if there's
Right.
like a topic in particular that there will be some math involved, even simple
Mm-hmm.
math concepts like addition, subtraction, and just kind of use that as a springboard, a jumping pad for how
Mm-hmm.
you're going
That's
to
right.
introduce the lesson. Yeah. So I guess one last question just to round everything out. Is math anxiety something that needs to be clinically diagnosed, and should we wait for those kinds of signs before we actually um, should we wait for a diagnosis or for certain signs to appear before we conduct interventions with the students?
Math anxiety is not a psychological disorder. It's just a type of emotion
Mhm.
that is more particular with math. No? Um, I think the best time to consult a more expert, no, or a psychologist, or that would be actually the last resort. No? If you have exhausted already all the different ways on how we could give support, because um, math anxiety is just a feeling of uh, feeling that math is difficult,
Mhm.
feeling that math is something that would make you fail in life. Math is a difficult subject that I do not know how I could, achieve in this particular subject. You know, it's just all in your mind. Eh. It's just how you see the subject. So it's just how our children see the subject. If you would give them the enough support, no, if you would give them the enough kind of help that you can extend to them, I don't think it will be as serious as a student wanting to, um, commit suicide na, no, it's not something as serious as that, no. So I don't think that there is a need for us to consult a psychologist or a dev ped just because of math anxiety. I think it starts kasi talaga with how us adults who are the immediate uh the closer ones to our students, no, be of help, no. And if we could address that in our level, then I don't think the math anxiety would progress to or worsen to that extent. So
Thank you, Teacher Mickey. And as we close our open forum, I just like to acknowledge a couple of the insights that our viewers have also shared with us in the comment section. So Miss Lillian Vergara, for example, says, "Thank you, Miss Mickey, in sharing your expertise regarding the causes of math anxiety to our learners. At least we educators are again reminded about it to really help our learners to love math subject in particular." We also have from Miss Girly Mabasa. She says parents should find time to collaborate with the teachers. And she also says that more drills should be given to students, and it's very important to do that prior to giving them assessments so that they're more practiced, I guess, and the drills should also be similar to the assessments. Um, from the Lisay Galamgam, they also said help students realize that they're more than their grades. Grades should not define them, which I think is also a big message and part of the message that you're trying to share with us today, especially with dealing with students who may have math anxiety. And then Miss Lillian Vergara also shared that in their school they have something similar to the basics program that we mentioned earlier. They call it the intervention program for them, and they do it for
Mm.
subjects like math, English, science, and Filipino. So thank you once again so much, viewers. Thank you for sharing your insights with us, your questions with us, and of course, at this point, we'd like to end our open forum already. If you will have any other questions, you can forward them to us at Tagros Education on our Facebook page, and we will try our best to get in touch with Teacher Mickey again and have those questions answered for you. Once again, everybody, let us please give a big virtual round of applause to Teacher Mickey for a very inspiring and informative session this morning. Thank you, Teacher Mickey.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us today. All right. So now, dear participants, if and when you feel that there is a need for your children to have an extra encounter to help them in their math subject and even in other subjects, Tag Bros Education is here for you. So don't hesitate to contact us. Earlier, we also showed a couple of classes that we have available at our Tag Bros Marketplace that are related to math. So we have here, for example, Math and Art with Miss Kira, and we also have math for fifth grade. So if you feel that we also have mental math, multiplication techniques. So if you feel that maybe your child or your student needs those extra resources, needs those a few extra sessions to help them with math, if they're struggling with it, then definitely check out the classes that we offer as well on Tag Pros. And of course, don't be afraid to look into other resources available to us, just like what Teacher Mickey has told us. Now, before we finally end, again, let me invite you once again to visit the class offerings. Just to let everybody know that will be available on tagpros.us. And of course, for our teachers out there who are interested in conducting your own classes on our Tagpros Marketplace, if you'd like to offer classes like this or courses like this to students, not only in the Philippines, but even to students around the world, even in the United States, please look into and consider joining us to become Tag Pros teacher partners. Just to reiterate and just to let everybody know in case you missed it earlier, our Tag Pros teacher partners again can look forward to several benefits, including earning while teaching your expertise at your own pace, place, and time. So it's very flexible scheduling. It's up to you when you would like to do it, if you're going to do it live or even asynchronously. So it's something that you can be comfortable with if you want to earn a little extra while you have your regular teaching job. You will also have access to teacher CPD accredited training and professional development. You'll have opportunities to participate in international professional learning opportunities in the United States with our official education partners. And you will also be receiving your official certified Tag Pros teacher partner badge and many other perks that we have in store for you as you create and conduct your own online classes. Now, once again, to know more about the program, if you'd like to be part of that, if you'd like to maybe refer it as well to maybe colleagues who might be interested, please spend some time and check out the marketplace platform at tagpros.us. And of course, at this point, we would like for you to let us know as well your thoughts about today's webinar workshop in our evaluation form. So the evaluation form will be posted right there. So we have the link on the screen right now. I believe this will be posted as well in the comment section. So please fill out the evaluation form. So, answering the evaluation form, as I mentioned earlier, is necessary in order for you to be able to claim your e certificate. Again, registering for the workshop or even attending the workshop today does not automatically qualify you for the certificate. You will have to fill up the evaluation form if you would like to receive that e certificate from us. And again, for Team Replay, for those who are not able to join us live today, no need to worry because the evaluation form will be open for 1 week. So you have an entire week to answer the evaluation form to be able to get your e-certificate. And we will be closing that at Friday at 11:59 p.m. So you have more than enough time to accomplish this. For those who are here already, of course, though, please do spend a little time right now to kind of fill it up so that you can make sure that you have it done already. We will be sending out your e-certificates after 2 weeks. So please keep that in mind. It may take a little time, so 2 weeks, around 2 weeks before we're able to send your e-certificate. So just keep an eye out on your emails to make sure that you receive them. Once again, thank you for your understanding. Okay, and that will be the end of our webinar workshop for today. We hope to, of course, see you again on our next webinar workshop series. As always, of course, please keep updated with TagPros Education by following our official social media pages. We have our Facebook page, of course, which you're watching this live on. We also have a LinkedIn page and a YouTube page. So definitely go follow those pages as well so that you can stay on track and stay updated on the different things that Tag Pros will be offering, the different webinar workshops that we will be having, and all of the other perks and um, things that we have in store for you. Of course, please encourage as well some of your colleagues, if you have parent friends, if you have teacher friends, or maybe just family and friends in general who would be interested in our topics or the things that we present here. Definitely feel free to invite them to tune in or to even follow the pages or join us. So once again, everybody, I am Celine, and thank you for joining us today. We hope that you have a great rest of the day. Have a restful weekend. Have a good Saturday, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you again next time.